Yeah. Yeah. This reminds me to actually open up the stream as well. So I can see people saying things.
And I know one of the people, because as per usual, I see a couple of eyeballs right here. And I know probably one of them is you.
Yes, one of them is me. Yes, that's me
So,
just opening that.
So, hello to the other person that's there. Feel free to comment anything, whether you want to rant for the day or whatever.
Yeah, I love a good rant. Need all the rants, please. Oh dear. Just gonna tweet about the stream. Right. That's done. I'm always very forgetful about tweeting before I do something. So now I have tweeted.
I definitely get that because I forgot to do it all. So
it's one of those things, isn't it, where you just like, oh, I'll just get really prepared for the stream and sort myself out. I was like, I'll make my coffee, get ready, and just completely forgot to do the one thing that would be very beneficial to do.
Yeah. Hello to the new person. Feel free to comment what book you're reading. Comment what book you're reading. That was just me showing the live stream on my iPad.
You got to make sure it's working. I always think that's the thing. If you don't have it open as well, then you never know what's actually happening on the stream.
Yeah, it works.
Ooh, that's what we want.
I just know that I'm gonna end up sharing it in like a minute, but anyway.
Yeah. So, what are you planning to read today?
On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Davis.
I
always pronounce it as Davis,
it.
but I know that's not the right way of pronouncing it.
Yeah, I looked on her website and I think it's pronounced like the D-U-Y bit is pronounced like the O-U bit in house. So it's like Dalvis. Yeah, that was what it said, I think. I'm going to look it up because now I am doubting myself. It's really weird. The other day it was really easy to find her website and now I'm just like cannot find it.
Share more.
Nope, can't find what website I was on where I looked that up. That's very annoying. Should have screenshotted it.
I pretty much just retweeted your tweet just so you have a heads up.
Yeah, it's fine. It's cool.
And what book are you planning on reading, Kat?
I am planning to read Failure to Communicate by Kaya Sonderby. And so I started reading it this morning and I'm 19 pages in. And it's like sci-fi. And I'm not sure what I think of it so far because so the premise is that we're really far in the future and there's loads of different alien races and they're in like a galactic traveling spaceship thing. And there was a period of time where, so basically, they used eugenics to get rid of all sorts of disabilities, disorders, and things like that. And there was a period of time where they stopped doing that, and people were like, "Oh, we'll have natural babies." And then they started realizing that people had things like autism and stuff like that, and then they stopped doing that. So, like, I find that like weird as a premise anyway. I'm not particularly fond of that because I'm like, well, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's not a wrong thing. It's just a different thing. So I find like that whole eugenics thing problematic to begin with. So that has resulted in the main character of this book being one of the only autistic people in the universe at this point in time. So that could be quite interesting. I'm just wondering how it's sort of going to work out. I don't know. It could be good, and it might go down some people being not very pleasant. So there's also a lot of names that are really not easy to remember, like a lot of weird spellings. Like AKCHARRCH. I don't know how to pronounce that. But there was like a lot of people with strangely spelt names. Just like somebody to be called Roger or Steve or something. Just so I can get into the book more easily. Oh dear.
Yeah, and we both know what On the Edge of Ghana is about.
Yeah, I am really excited to read that one though. Like that, I think that is the one that I'm most excited to read. It's just I've got that one on audiobook, so I was like, I want to read a physical book right now because I'm just in the mood to read physically. But yeah, I'm hoping the audiobook is good because I always feel like they kind of hinge on the narrator as well, how good they end up being.
Right.
So hopefully it'll be nice. Hopefully there won't be sad things. I want happy autistic people. We get to be happy sometimes.
Yeah, from what I could tell, the main character is like smart beyond her years.
Right.
Because she's just like, I want to get this done. Like, because although she knows she's probably gonna lose the argument with her mom.
Yeah.
She's probably gonna. She's just like, Mom, we should go to the shelter now. The sister's not gonna come back just yet.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at right now. But,
wow.
And I'm 20 pages into it.
So we're starting around the same amount into our books with like very interesting starts so far. So I think it's good. Hopefully be good. Also, right, can I just say I really love the illustration on this cover. I don't know why, I just think it's like really pretty. Like, I don't know why. I just really like the style that it's drawn in. Like, I don't know which character is which at this point in time, but still. Because they've not been very particularly descriptive of people so far, so it'll be interesting to see what they actually look like. I also think there might be some. I don't know if it's. I think I've heard that there's some polyamorous rep in this, so that would be interesting to see as well. I haven't read very many polyamorous books before, so I don't know.
I'm gonna start the sprint.
Yeah, go for it. So, just 10 minutes again.
Yeah.
All right, cool. See you in 10.
It stopped. Alexa, shut off.
Yeah. Oh dear. So, how are you finding yours? Is it good?
Um, she did. It's interesting. The they where I'm at is pretty much where Denise and her mom are just like trying to help a family out get with, or at least a like a person and their partner and all that, like with getting to their shelter. So
Okay. Interesting.
how about
Not
yours?
much. Yeah, not much else has happened in mine. They've made connection with this alien race and found someone that they can talk to from there, but now they're leaving the planet. So basically, they got to the planet, they made a connection with some aliens, and now they're leaving the planet, but she doesn't want to leave the planet. And I feel like we're going to end up back on this planet later, because otherwise I couldn't see the point of necessarily introducing the characters. And like, I just want to know more about the aliens. I don't want to leave it quite so soon, because I'm not even 30 pages in and I'm like, I want to hear more about the aliens. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know mine's just like or at least in mine, the Denise is just like, we have to get back. She knows she wants to help out, but she's like, I want to go back to the shelter and I want to see if the sister's okay.
Mm.
And the mom's not really helping out with that. Although obviously she still has to live with her and all that. So yeah.
You're making me want to read that one more than the one I'm reading. Like, I just had a look at the back of my book at the end of that, because I feel like this book needs a glossary, but it doesn't have one. So I'm just trying to remember who all of these people are and what all of the, like, I'm struggling at the moment between the people's names, their nicknames, and the names of the alien races and the names of the ships. Because there's a lot of names and not very far into the book, so it's getting a tiny bit confusing. But maybe I'll get used to it more as we go. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you can hear that tractor that is just absolutely hurtled past my house, making loads of noise. But sorry if you can.
Like, I know that my mom started watching McLeod's Daughters, which is an Australian TV show. So
I can't hear that either, so we're okay.
Yeah, I'm on like because my house is a 2-story house, so yeah. I'm on one floor and she's downstairs. So
they're far enough away for it to be okay.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good. Just throwing my headphone over there for some reason. Oh dear. I remember to take my hay fever tablet today, even though my eyes are still like having it. So I don't have to leave midstream to go and do that. Preparedness. I have some today. Oh dear. Oh dear.
How's your Camp NaNoWriMo project going so far?
I'm on target. So I wanted to write 25,000 words because I'm quite busy this month. So I didn't want to do the full 50,000 because that's way too much pressure. And I don't have the spoons to do that this month. So I only have to write 830 words a day. and I managed to write like 1,100 on the first, and then I did about 900 words yesterday. So I'm still above target. I haven't hit any roadblocks, and that is good because sometimes I struggle and like I hit a block and I'm like, I don't want to write this scene because it's complicated.
I know that Katie Wismer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but she's pretty much from Kate's book date.
Right.
She had she although she has published 4 books as of Tuesday. She may have I don't know how much advice. I don't know how much advice I'm going to help out with, but she may help out a little bit since she has the 4 books that are released. So
yeah, I think more books. I tend to get distracted when I start telling people about the book. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I think about it, and then I stop writing it because all the pressure. It's like not at a point where I think I would like show anyone what I've written at this point in time because I don't think it makes enough sense. I don't know. I think I write the way that I do first drafts is a little bit different to I think the way most people do for like first drafts, because I basically just write down all the things that I want to happen, and not even necessarily incoherent sentences, but they make sense to me. So my first draft is absolute nonsense. And now I'm trying to make it not nonsense, which is interesting. I'm having a fun time with some of my characters. And I don't know, there's this weird thing where I have 2 different storylines going on at once, and at some points in time I really want to write one storyline, and at some points in time I really want to write the other storyline. So it's like, do I want to write about a witch heist thing, or do I want to talk about a fae competition thing? Because they're both happening, just they have different characters and totally different feels to them, I think. So I don't know. It's a weird time.
Who knows? It might work out in the end.
I hope it does. Like, I mean, the stories do conjoin, and like they like sort of start together and then they break apart and then they come back together. So they should make sense, but like also I actually need to finish stuff. I'm really bad at finishing stuff. Really good at starting it, but really not so great at eventually finishing it. Maybe I get distracted.
Yeah, I know. On the at 30 my time. I know that's like 1:30 your time.
Yeah.
But I'm doing like a reading sprints, like on the reading slash productivity sprints on my end. So if you want to do NaNoWriMo stuff that day.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm up, then yeah, well. Like my problem is that I'm never like, well, sometimes I'm awake but like my brain isn't really awake. It's that time of the day when you just like switched off. If I'm still awake at 11:30, then probably all I'm doing is watching reruns of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, no. You and Kathy Steyerhart, I think that's how you pronounce your name, would get along very well.
Yeah,
because she watches that as well.
It's just I can't stop. It's an obsession. I definitely had a moment, like not last month, but in February, where I basically got hyper focused on it, and I watched like 6 seasons. I just binged them, and yeah, it was a problem, but also not a problem. I had a lot of fun doing it, so you know.
Yeah, I know as of recently I've been binging 24 with Kiefer Sutherland in it.
And that I used to watch that show all the time, and my parents have just started rewatching it, and they keep asking me questions about it because I remember stuff about it and they don't. It's such a good show.
Yeah. And I'm pretty much at the part where Dennis Hopper plays a big role in it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
May he rest in peace, of course, but I'm not going to go into too much detail in case people haven't seen it, but I'm at the part where Dennis Hopper plays a huge role in it.
Oh.
I'm getting the vibe that something will happen to Jack's wife.
I'm not saying anything. I will nothing. My lips are firmly sealed.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that I'm also getting the vibe that that the Allstate guy is going to end up having an affair with one of the people that's on his like presidential staff or whatever, and that him and his wife will just be like, I want a divorce, bye.
See, I don't want to give any spoilers for anything because I watched all of the seasons apart. I watched seasons 1 and 2 and 3, I think, after I'd watched 4 because that was when when it was on TV and I started watching it. So I started watching it then, and then we went back and watched 1, 2, and 3 afterwards. So I remember quite a lot of the things that it was one of my Friday night shows that I used to love so much.
I will I will let you know what after if anything happens, I will let you know.
Yes, I am here for this. I love 24. You can make me want to watch it again. I just want to watch it again now.
I think I'm on like 10 to 11. I think I'm at like 10 to 11
Right.
in like season 1, so yeah.
What, in the evening or the morning?
Like in the evening.
Did it start at midnight? Because they start at different times in the day, depending on what season it is, I think.
I think like at the very beginning it was like midnight to 1 a.m. and then they would go. My only critique, I wish it was like more. I wish it was longer than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Besides that, it's not that bad of a show.
So. Yeah. It does bother me that like it should be an hour long. Like it's 24. It should be 24 hours long, like the whole show. Like also the only other thing that really bothered me is they never stopped to go to the toilet. It's a whole day. Are you telling me these people didn't go to the toilet in the entire day?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna start another round of sprints.
Yeah, sounds good.
I meant to do it 4 minutes ago, but yet again, we were in the midst of discussing stuff, so I didn't want to be like, oh crap, we should start. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, it's done.
Yeah. I had interesting developments in my chapter that I just read, which is quite good. Now I know why they're leaving the planet that we started on. I don't know. The main character is particularly useful because they can't. There's like a whole thing about not being able to use AI or something like that. So her skills are like really prized. So it could be really interesting. I just hope it's done well. I don't know.
Yeah, I started a new chapter. I'm a little over 30 pages in. And they actually meet. Considering that I believe it's 2034 in this book, I believe.
Right.
So I believe the people that they were bringing to their shelter ended up being a whole damn ship. And Denise is just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Wow. Sounds interesting. I'm gonna read it. No, this book is getting interesting now, so I feel like I can stick with this one until I've finished it, and then I'll pick up the audiobook for that one when I'm done. So just hopefully all the books will be good or better than The Kiss Potion, which I did end up giving 4 stars out of 5 because I didn't quite hit it, but oh well. It'd be fine. I just want a good book.
I'm sure it could have been so much worse.
It really could have been. It could have continued like it did at the start, and I wouldn't have, at least it changed up what it was doing after the beginning. Because I think if it had carried on the way that it started, then I would have just felt really grossed out the entire way, and just, that's not what we want.
Yeah, I just read the book, cringed, got hilariously nervous because I had an appointment relating to me being a female, obviously, next day, and I was like, oh crap, I'm so damn nervous because a book made me so damn nervous.
I was going to say, yeah, that kind of appointment with the way that things were being talked about in that book, I could totally see those sort of, that feeling would not be a fun time. That's not a great time at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to think more on that book before I review it in any real capacity, just because I feel like I'm still thinking about it and trying to figure out what my actual feelings on it were. So yeah. I rated it 4, but then I'm like, is it 4? It's not 5, but then I'm like, is it more like 3.5 to 4? I don't know.
I know that Goodreads doesn't technically give out the 3.5, 3.75, that sort of thing, but maybe it can be like a 3.75 instead of it being like a full-fledged 3.4 out of 5.
Yeah, but then my problem is that I always round up, so it would end up as a 4-star anyway, even if it was.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh well. I'll have to think about it before I do my wrap up at the end of the month and just explain it properly, but I think it's going to take some thinking on to quite articulate what I mean about it, but we'll see.
And on my wrap ups, I don't say what because knowing how I could ramble on for 5 hours with the books I read, I usually am just like, here's the book, here's the photo, because I figured out how to edit the photos in. If I don't own the book physically, I'd be like, here's the book with the photo in one of the corners.
Nice.
And here's the rating and the potential trigger warnings.
Yeah, I need to be better at trigger warnings. always find that I remember some of the trigger warnings and then I like forget the rest of them. And sometimes I forget to say the trigger warnings. I'm like, no, that is something I really need to remember to do because they're really useful to have.
Yeah, because I know that in one of the other books that I'm reading, she it was the group book, My Autistic Warrior. I think there's like some form of like ableism within the school system, as well as like potential like verbal abuse and all that, but or from one, it might not be from both the parents, but at least one of them. So
I mean, there's definitely that in this. Like, the main character is in a spaceship on her job, but she's like had a sort of thought back to some of the things that her mother used to say to her, and like that, oh, stop, doing certain things. That's not normal. And so I feel like that could be. It could get worse because I feel like that is going to come into play more in the rest of the book. I really hate that. Why can't we just have like supportive parents? Why isn't that a thing? More supportive parents too.
That's definitely true.
Like,
especially if it was more thought out in books like the Kiss Collection.
yeah. I just didn't like. I didn't. That really annoyed me though. The mum, because the mum changed her tune later. The parents weren't even really an important factor to that book, so they could have just been nice parents. It could have just been nice and not like caused that whole problem, but whatever.
Yeah, I know from like I know like when every time I reread something like Queens of Geek, I learned something more about it, and I realized like that some of the trigger warnings are like some kind of like with My Autistic Warrior, there's some form of ableism. There's like he underage drinking,
Right.
like there's some sort of fat phobia,
Right.
but it's like all sorts of stuff. Like, I'm not sure if you're gonna notice that right away, but
Oh well, I'll look at it now. I'll definitely see it now. I don't know. It's interesting. It depends. As always, I think it depends how these things are done. If these things are going to be in a book, then it depends on how they're portrayed. And well, for me, it does. Like I don't tend to get super upset by them, but they stick in my mind. I think, and it depends how they're resolved and how the characters who are supposed to be good characters that we're supposed to like and gel with react to a certain situation. If they don't react in a, I want to say, appropriate way, then I'm like, no, thank you, don't want. So I don't know. But that book should be good, and I am very much looking forward to it. I think it's the one that on this TBR. Well, that and the On the Edge of Gone, both of them. I feel like I've started the month with the ones that I'm not looking forward to as much, so I've still got the hype for the ones I'm really excited for.
considering that I will constantly blab about it on my channel, or at least Queens of Geek, you will. I feel like you'll definitely enjoy that one. Because if I like if you watch like a good chunk of the tags that I do on my channel, you'll be like, it's like every other tag is like I will bring up Queens of Geek or like anything Lisa McMahon, and it's just like, yeah, you'll get the hint that, oh yeah, this jackass loves that book.
I mean, I think we all have those books though, don't we, where we're just like, but I want to answer this one because it's the best book, obviously.
Exactly.
Like, it's the answer to this question, so why wouldn't I answer it?
It's my holy Bible.
Yeah, 100% been there.
Like,
Yeah, I'm excited.
who cares about the actual Bible? Well, I shouldn't say who cares about the actual Bible, because if I say something like more like offensive towards the Bible, it's like you're gonna be we're going to cause some sort of controversy. But still,
Yeah, no.
Who cares?
Yeah, this is the equivalent of that to
Pretty
us.
much, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just have to shit. You know when you sit in a position for too long and then like I don't know if you get this, but I get this where my leg starts to go numb and I'm like, I just need to move a little bit because I've sat still for too long.
So sometimes I do.
Yeah, I think I like scrunch up and then like my knees are like bent, so I'm just like, oh, I should really straighten my knee, or else when I stand up, I'll probably just fall over. Oh dear, but yeah. Definitely just almost choked on my drink then. I'm having a whale of a time today. Oh dear. Yeah, so I feel like later on I'm just going to end up sitting out in the sun and reading because that is the kind of day it is.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold again where I live, so.
Yeah, not so much sitting outside unless you want to wrap up in like all of the coats and blankets, and freeze a little bit while you're reading.
Yeah, I know for me, or at least where I live, I heard that it was supposed to warm up a little bit more, but I'll believe it when I feel it if I go outside.
Yeah, I heard it was meant to snow here, but it's actually hotter and nicer than it was yesterday. So I feel like whoever came up with that weather report was not looking outside in the slightest, because it's much nicer than it was yesterday, and it was warm enough yesterday that I actually had a barbecue last night. So I ended up like in the garden until about 8 o'clock when it was officially deemed too cold, and I had to go inside and warm up because it was way too cold. But like when the sun was up, it was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have much time to do another 10-minute sprint, but we can just sit here and relax and chill.
Yeah. I like a bit of relaxing on a Saturday. I keep forgetting that it's actually Saturday today, because with everyone like being off because yesterday was Good Friday, it's bank holiday around here. I'm not sure if that is where you are as well.
It was Good Friday yesterday.
So on Good Friday, everyone has the day off around here, and it just felt like a Saturday because no one was at work, and I was like, wait. Hanging out, and then obviously because we did the sprints as well, I was like, oh, this is Saturday and then today is Sunday, and I'm like, no, it's not. This is the wrong day. What is the day today? So confused.
I can understand that because my brother was just like, what day is it?
Yeah, I think I lose all sense of time at the moment since the whole lockdown, working from home, quarantining type thing. What day is it? What time is it? When should I go to bed? When should I get up in the morning? I don't know.
Everything just meshes into one.
Yeah. But that's like been a whole year now. And it feels like the new normal. I feel like when everything starts going back to like the sort of structure that we used to have, I feel like it's gonna be so strange because I've like built routines around not doing those things that I used to think were dead normal. I don't know. Very strange way to be.
Yeah, I it's just water with flavoring. Okay. That was my mom letting me know that stuff is ready for me to do homework downstairs, but I'll do that in a couple minutes or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do some stuff. I should probably think about doing my NaNoWriMo writing before it gets too late, and then I forget to do it. And then I'm scrambling around at 11 o'clock going, must write 800 words now.
Yeah, I get that, because the professor that I have, because I go to college, because I'm a part-time college student.
Nice. Good times. Well, yeah, I say good times, but it's hard work, isn't it, really? Like, what are you studying?
General studies with a fine arts certificate.
Oh, cool. It's really cool. I wish I could have done some sort of art. I used to do a fair bit of art, but then it turns out I'm really not actually that good at it. I'm not that good at it. So.
Yeah, I know I'm pretty good at it. It's just this professor is not fun to deal with right now.
I think it's all harder as well, because if you're not, I imagine you're not going in like at the moment, or like I think that makes everything way more difficult, especially with something like fine art where like it's a visual thing, isn't it? So it's a lot of that is dependent on actually seeing things, and you can see things look rubbish when you put them on a computer and go, oh, look at this thing, like look at this thing, it looks great, and you're like, you can't even see half of the things that are supposed to be there.
Yeah, I know for just this semester as a whole, the professor is just something about the way the professor's teaching isn't meshing with me personally, and what can you do?
Yeah, but that's always a struggle. Like if you're not like clicking, then it just doesn't. It's not a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
It could be so much worse though, but yet again, how can the professor who is just like who's strict and shows one thing when it really means another thing, like because we're doing like a project about crosshatch and cross contour, and it's which are two very specific technical terms in drawing one. And we're supposed to like choose like one or two items and all that. And so I was like, you know what? Like I may choose a book, but and then one of my friends who was helping me out is just like, he's not gonna accept it. Do like a mason jar and like a pair of scissors or something. I'm like, okay.
It's like when you have to like abandon the things that you actually want to do just to pass the thing. You're like, oh, exactly. This is what I want to do. This is where my vision is at, and then it's like, oh, but this will make them go, yes, yes. Yeah, I used to work in a place that was like that, where you had to be like, this is correct and this is like fun, but like this is what they will accept, so we have to abandon the nice things.
Right.
Yeah, not the most fun. Oh well, it could be worse, and it will definitely be more fun in another class and another time when you can do the things that you want to do.
Oh, definitely. It'll be nice to not have to deal with people that are relatively confusing, and like not really relatively confusing, but it'll be nice to have more understanding professors, because the first professor I had in the fine arts program was very understanding, and I was like, ooh, I could do this, I could do that. Like, yeah. She'll help me understand things a lot better.
Which
Like,
is just what you need, really, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that it doesn't help that there's a big language barrier between him and us students because he's from Brazil and English was his second language and all that. So
yeah, it definitely adds a few barriers to it, doesn't it?
And yeah, it's just another thing is the stuff that he shows because he wants us to do a still. He wants us to do like a still life, and he showed like hands and like heads, and that's like more that's life drawing technically.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, and it got me to think about doing my cat, but then they're like, and then my friend was like, that's it's like don't do that. That's because that's considered something different. And but do like I'm like okay that helps.
Yeah, like that's dead confusing. I can see why you would be confused because I would be confused too. Like, yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna end the live stream. So
Yeah.
So yeah. See you guys. The next live stream is on the 8th with Olivia's catastrophe. And it's gonna be at 2:30 p.m. my time. And it's gonna be on April 8th at 2:30 my time with Olivia's catastrophe. She actually liked that tweet and decided to retweet it because I mentioned her in the tweet. I was like, you know what? If it helps bring attention to her as well, why not? Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I will. So bye guys.
Yeah, bye.